Hello and welcome to BCC Virtual Racing and the Autumn Combination League. This is race 2 in a series of 28 events. The course for tonight's race is the London Classique at just under 39 kilometres long. A 5.7 kilometre lead-in followed by 6 laps at 5.4 kilometres. The course is largely flat, but there is one small short climb of around 5% which shouldn't be underestimated. We join the competitors for the first time in the Cat B start pen. Roughly 100 riders in total today and some 24-25 from BCC, which is a great turnout, including a number of first time or second time racers. Great to see them on board, and interestingly a number of competitors that have downgraded themselves from higher cats, so it will be interesting to see what happens with them during this race and the ongoing series. And a message from the commissaire: please remember to wear your heart rate monitors and ensure that your turbo trainer is calibrated properly. Please also make sure that your data is entered correctly. Any rider suddenly losing 10 kilos in weight will be looked upon quite suspiciously. And don't forget, the commissaire's decision is final. Race duration tonight is likely to be around 60 minutes, slightly faster for the Cat A's probably, and slightly slower for Cat D riders. At 1 hour long, most should be riding at close to FTP. 5 seconds to go before the start, and the riders are off. One rider left behind at the start, as is usual these days. Category A off around the first corner, and coming in from the left now the Category B riders. They'll all merge into one big group, and we'll have a look at that group on circuit. Joining Brown for the first time in this race, currently 317 watts. His FTP is 288, so he's pushing quite hard. Hopefully he will finish this race. Retired early from the previous race on Monday, I think it was. The Cat A and Cat B riders riding largely as one group at this stage, but that will change as time progresses. Mr. 3.99 watts per kilo, pushing hard, well above his FTP at this stage. And Tom, first rider for BCC, early in the race of course, things beginning to settle slightly. And just towards the back of this group, Wales, who's switched for this series from Cat A to Cat B, probably coming back into fitness. I hope he does well. Moving further back in the field to the Category C riders on our first look at Stoneham, and sitting right behind him, Collier. These two have battled back and forth during the last race series, with Stoneham certainly winning on more occasions than Collier. But after a summer layoff, who knows what's going to happen next. And here is our first look at Collier. Not really relaxed yet, still pushing quite hard at 2.8 kilometres. And our first Category D rider, White. This is his first race, I think. He's just dropping off the back of this group. I think he's probably being a bit overly ambitious at this stage. Further back in that field, Measham, his second race, doing well at the moment. Our first look at May, another rider that has downgraded himself on this occasion from Cat C to Cat D. I fully expect that to change before the end of the season. Here we have Tamsin, and in there I think Littlewood as well. These two have raced well together over the last series. There is Littlewood now at 3.5 kilometres, and just behind him Ainsworth, I think. Yes, Ainsworth, another new entrant into the race series. But already it looks as if he is beginning to struggle. He is separated in isolation. Tamsin, Littlewood 4 seconds ahead. Next group of riders behind him, including Lay, some 4 or 5 seconds. Having said that, though, still pushing a reasonable amount of power, and his heart rate is up there at 170 odd beats per minute. Our first look at Lay on screen, just beginning to lose touch with the group ahead, and just behind him, first appearance from Jones, Rob Jones on this occasion. Looks as if he's beginning to lose contact with Lay already. Our first look at Hall, another rider that seems to have dropped down a category, currently leading towards the front of category C, but Stoneham, Collier behind him. I think he'll be hard pushed to keep the pair of them away. And we're now looking at O'Brien, and it looks as if Wales has dropped off 15 seconds behind him. But in that same group I can still see Taff, Civita, and 14 or 15 seconds further ahead Shannon still holding on, with possibly still the leading group, hard to tell at this stage. Jury, hopefully still not going too fast too soon, but he seems to be doing well. Back with the category A riders, and Lisa up towards the front of this group. In there still Tom, Brown, I can see Lancia and Jury in there as well, as previously mentioned. Let's have a look, see who else we can see. Davis, of course. And no sooner than I had said he was doing quite well, and he seems to have blown up. Shannon has dropped off from the leading group and now is stuck in no man's land. But no, just behind him there is the chasing group of the category B riders. O'Brien, Taff, Civita in there as well. He is definitely going to get caught, no doubt about that. And not more than 30 seconds later, that's exactly what happened. Civita on screen at the moment, pushing up the one and only incline, really, 450 odd watts. And looking further back in the list, Wales has dropped off even further, now 34 seconds behind this group. In fact, Wales has now joined the battle that will be between Collier and Stoneham. Stoneham currently sitting nicely within the group, I think well within his capabilities at this stage. There is Wales on screen now. Hall is in this same group as well, as is Tamsin, but no sign of Littlewood. At least I can't see him in the list of riders. Morton on screen, and in fact I have found Littlewood. He is about 15 seconds I think behind Morton at this stage. There he is now at 9.7 kilometres, 15 minutes 40 seconds into the race. I think our first look at May at 9.8 kilometres, 25 seconds behind Morton. Normally a rider he stays pretty close to. Let's see how he does for the rest of this race. Tamsin on screen with Lay, Ainsworth in this group as well. At 10.8k, White, he's drifted further back, probably to join now a group that's more at his speed, though some 15 seconds I think behind him Measham, who seems to be closing the gap slowly. And here we have Jones on the screen there, riding pretty much by himself. Riders a long way ahead and behind, and I think actually this is the last time we'll see him on screen, and he retires shortly afterwards. Back up towards the front now with Campbell, riding very well as a category B rider. I suspect keeping a very close eye on Davis, but any number of riders in this group who could do very well today, including Brown. Brown still riding along at 10-15 watts less than his FTP, so seems to be doing quite well. However, this group has split from the leading A pack, and in here we have Lisa, Civita. I wonder if they're facing each other in the same room on their turbo trainers. O'Brien, Taff, Jury still holding on. Nice to see. Shannon seems to be more comfortable with this group. And there he is on screen now, 260 odd watts, 17.1 kilometres, just under halfway through. Shannon did a great job in the previous race, beating Ketley right on the line, even though Ketley was riding faster and with more power, all down to timing. Here we have Hall in there as well. Tamsin, I think I can see, yes, she's there as well. Approximately 1 minute behind the group ahead of them. And I can also see Stoneham in that group as well. Here we have White. He's not managed to hang on to the group that he has been riding with. Now riding in isolation, which is not a great place to be. He'll be finding it tough. And if you look closely, you can just see behind him a group, and this is Measham in that group, closing rapidly on White, and I suspect they'll catch him within the next couple of minutes. Riders are becoming very stretched out now at 17.2 kilometres, 26 minutes. Jones, Morton at 17.1k and 26 minutes. And about 30 seconds further back, as far as I can work out, we have Littlewood now caught up with Tamsin, and Ainsworth in there as well. Oh, and switching back to what was the leading group, Lancia has dropped off. Lancia will need to be careful here, as not more than 30 seconds behind him we have the group that contains Jury, O'Brien, Taff, Shannon and Civitar, who by my calculations are slowly gaining. And of course, if they work well in a group, they're likely to catch even faster. Here we have Collier, Stoneham in the Group C contention battle. Hall is in there as well, and Wales is about to be caught. And right up at the front, currently in fifth, Campbell. I can also see Daines. Davis is bound to be in there as well. Tom. No sign of Brown. And at 23.4 kilometres, these riders will now be beginning to think about the last 10-14k and how they're going to play that out strategically. Some of these riders are very experienced, so don't expect them to make a move too soon. Back with Group C now, just approaching Trafalgar Square. Tamsin on screen, still with Littlewood at this stage. And interestingly, they have now come together with Morton, who was 30 seconds ahead not more than 3 or 4 minutes ago. And they are about to catch Lay. With White still putting in a solo performance. No one really ahead of him or behind. Doing well to ride all by himself at 21.6 kilometres. Wales has now been consumed by the ongoing battle in Cat C between Stoneham, Collier. Hall is in there as well. In fact, at 26 kilometres, it looks as if Hall is beginning to lose touch with the group. Yes, he is. He's 1 second off the pace just at the moment. And the group, in fact, are pulling away from him now, up to 2 seconds ahead. I don't think he'll get this back. Collier still looking comfortable. Stoneham in there with him as well. And the riders pass under the Flamme Rouge, but definitely not for the last time. Back at the front of the race with Tom taking advantage of this slight hill, pushing hard. 470, 500 watts. Still with him, still hanging in there, Daines, Campbell, I'm assuming Davis, but I can't see him. No, there he is. And this hill flattens out just as they approach Trafalgar Square. Littlewood, Tamsin, Lay, Ainsworth have now pulled some 30 seconds ahead of Morton on screen now. And they are rapidly gaining on White, about 15 seconds ahead of them. And here's Brown. This is a surprise. He has dropped off the leading group. I hope he doesn't have a mechanical or some other problem, but he's going backwards fairly quickly. And 45 seconds behind Brown is Shannon, doing well now to stay within this group. I think this is probably more suited to his needs. In there with him, Lisa, who's brought back Lancia. I thought I saw O'Brien and Taff as well. And Civitar on screen at 33.1 kilometres, not far to go. And as Group C, Cat C passes under this banner with Stoneham, Collier there, they have 1 lap left to complete. Last time up this hill for Tom. He's trying to assert his position here. He's pushing hard. Cars going up. 580 watts, 579, 624. He's trying to drop his fellow BCC riders. Doesn't look as if they're letting him go though, trying hard, though he is pulling out a little. And as the riders approach Trafalgar Square for the last time, they'll take a right-hand turn. As they make that turn, they will pass under Admiralty Arch and the finish line will become visible. However, if I remember correctly, it's probably around 500 metres away, even though it looks somewhat closer, so the sprint has got to be timed well. Some of the riders going already, pushing hard. Tom is taking his time, surfing some wheels. Probably the best strategy. I think the ones up the front aren't going to last. With about 300 metres to go, it's all out now. Davis is coming up from behind. He's right behind him, in fact. He'll be pushing for a great finish. Campbell there as well. He's had a fantastic race. Tom takes the win, followed by Davis, Danes and Campbell, all on virtually the same time, just milliseconds separating them. Brown comes in roughly 3 minutes behind the leading A group, and not far behind him Lancia can probably just see Brown ahead on the finish line. Will he make a sprint all by himself? Let's have a look. Charging hard behind Lancia, Civita, Taff, Shannon, Jury, O'Brien in there as well, and there's the Cat C riders, Stoneham. Wales is in there as well. Stoneham's managed to drop Collier some 30 odd seconds behind, and here is Collier. Can't quite master a sprint, but here he is crossing the line at about 3 minutes behind Collier. Hall, is he going to make a sprint? Not really, no. And gets past just on the line. Measham crosses the line next in 1 hour 57 seconds. He can expect an upgrade to Cat C, where we expect to see him racing next time. Blay comes in just roughly 1 minute behind. Littlewood has lost Tamsin 12 seconds behind, but is riding with White, and those two will cross the line at the same time. Ainsworth by himself, Morton 36 seconds behind him, but he crosses the line in just over 1 hour 4 minutes, taking a bronze cup in category D. Well done. Morton in Cat C comes in roughly 1 minute later. And as we join our final rider on course at 36 kilometres, May, looks like he's taking it fairly easy. Let's have a look at the results for this evening. The overall winner, Matt Tom, in a time of 51 minutes and 9 seconds. I'll have a look at the first 4 riders there, all came in within 1 second of each other. A win for Davis in category B and 3rd overall in the Zwift Power results. Same applies to Stoneham in category C, with a win there for BCC and 3rd overall in Zwift Power. And a great result for White and Ainsworth, both new entrants into the race series, who managed to pick up a gold and a bronze cup respectively. So great riding overall tonight. Well done everyone. My rider for the evening is Campbell. He was only beaten by Danes and Davis by a fraction of a second, and overall was only 3 seconds off the win for category A, so well done to you. Next race is on Monday evening. See you all there, and thanks for watching.